Steeler Nation, what's good? Thanks for tapping in to the KnoItAllz YouTube channel. I'm your boy Tate, tapping in for Wednesday afternoon Tate's Tate. So what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining. We're going to just chop it up with the introductions for a minute till some people start to join the conversation. But yeah, man, what we're going to get into today, and I'm open to answer any questions, obviously. While I'm here, I try and keep it around 30 minutes, 35 maybe, depending on what kind of frequency of questions we get asked and stuff like that. But certainly appreciate each and everybody for tapping in. But are we going to talk about my take on Ben Rothlisberger and whether or not he will be, not whether or not he deserves to be, whether or not he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? We got some guys this year that didn't get in that maybe we thought could have got in. Bill Belichick definitely, should have got in. He was a snub. Some people thought Eli Manning should have got in. And since things have changed the past couple of years anyway, the past 2 years, where they kind of limited the number of people that actually go into the Hall, I believe the past 2 years, there's been 5 players each year. It used to be like 7 or 8. So there's a log jam at the Hall of Fame. And with some potential thought of first ballot Hall of Famers not getting in this past year, Belichick, Eli Manning, and against some of those players that already have been waiting, and the players that are eligible this year, and I have those pictures obviously on the show graphic. We'll talk about the players that could get in this year. Could there be a log jam, and could that stop 7 from getting in as a first ballot? He's a no doubt, unequivocally, unrivaled, unmatched Hall of Famer. We know that. We know what 7's resume has said, what it says, and what he did for the Pittsburgh Steelers in his career, winning damn near 67% of his games, more than 2 out of every 3 games, never had a losing season. So we know what 7 has done, what he's been about. He about that work, right? He about that work. And when you're about that work, doesn't always mean that you're perceived as the nicest person, the nicest guy. In the past week, since after the Super Bowl, Super Bowl media, NFL, everybody shows up from the NFL world to the Super Bowl. Ex-players, current players, who's who. I mean, in the world of just whatever your career track is, people show up for the Super Bowl. And media row is a big thing. A lot of different media sources are there. Obviously, a traditional sports network, and a lot more now. A lot of what his credibility has gained over the past 10 years or so. A lot of podcasts and stuff like that get media credentials to go to things like that. And I got a couple cuts from some of the podcasts I'm going to play, because it really comes down to not what Ben did on the field, not what he did off the field, though there's some stuff there. I don't think he'll be measured on that, but I do think quarterbacks, football players are measured at least by voters when asked. And because, these voters, there's 50 voters, you have to get 80% of the vote. That means you can't have more than 10 people not vote for you. If 11 people don't vote for you, I believe that's what happened with Belichick. 39 people voted for him. No go. Didn't make it. So with some of the stuff that ex-teammates are saying, you got teammates come to Ben's defense, say a lot of good stuff about Ben. We're gonna hear what Shannon Sharp and Mike Florio had to say about the whole thing with Ben and Porter. Short clip. We'll play that. We'll talk about it, and just what his chances are to get in as the first ballot. And again, from a resume perspective, on-field numbers, statistics, Super Bowl wins, all that stuff, he certainly deserves it. But it is a judging by the judges, obviously. And what do they think? We don't know. And this kind of narrative can't help it, right? Can't help it. So we'll talk about that. We have some people that showed up a little bit. Let's see who's tapped in. Christine Black and Gold. What up, boo? Thanks for tapping in. Certainly appreciate you for being here. Dwayne in the building. Thanks, man. Thanks. My homegirl Afton. Happy belated birthday again, Afton. I know I told you in our chat, but I don't think I've been on since it's been your birthday. So happy belated, even though I told you happy the day of. Joshua Armstead, the homie in the building. Thanks for tapping in. Mean Green in the building. What up, fam? Thanks for tapping in. You guys in the comment what you think about Ben. Not whether he'll be a Hall of Famer, whether you think he's going to be a first ballot. So, with that being said, let's just look at who's going to be that are some of the potential finalists this year. And keep in mind, 15 make it every year before they get down to 5. They whittle down of all the candidates available, they whittle down to 15 first, and then 5 announced at the Super Bowl weekend, and then we know who's going to go into the Hall of Fame in August in Canton at the ceremony and stuff. So up this year, we got 7 who we're here to talk about. Big Ben Rothlisberger. I'm just going to pull Ben's stats up and go over them real quick. Ben played the most games in Steelers history, 249 games played. His career record, 165, 81-1. He has a 64.4% completion percentage. He threw for 64,088 yards, averaged 7.5 yards per attempt. Maybe that's per completion. 418 touchdowns and 211 interceptions. Almost a 2-to-1 touchdown ratio. Just missed it. I mean, double interceptions. That's 422. He threw 418 tubs. So those are his numbers. 2 Super Bowl wins. We know that. I believe he's 4-time Pro Bowler, maybe 5. But keep in mind, he played it during the toughest time when Peyton Manning and one GOAT Tom Brady were on top of their game. And that's another thing. I think Brady is eligible next year, right? I think Brady's eligible next year. So we'll see what that looks like among other guys. But like I was saying about these guys welcome this year. So we got 7. We got Ben. We got Andrew Whitworth, longtime tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Rams was a great tackle. Won the Super Bowl with the Rams. Kind of was there when Matt Stafford got there and helped propel them to a Super Bowl. Great tackle. Played for a losing organization for a lot of years, obviously in Cincinnati. We got, what's my man's name? Played for Tampa from Oklahoma. He's on TV now. Let me come back to him. I remember his name. But we got Gronk. I think Gronk is a definite first ballot Hall of Famer. Arguably one of the top 3 greatest tight ends of all time. I mean, I'll leave that open to the imagination and your particular opinion, whatever individuals think. But you got Gronk, you got Tony Gonzalez, and I'll let you pick 3. I don't know, would it be Antonio Gates? Would it be one of those guys like that? But Ozzie Newsome, shout out old Cleveland Browns. But I don't know. But I think Gronk is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Adrian Peterson. AP has an NFL MVP, one of the best running backs of all time. I think he's a potential, could be. Not saying he is, he could be though. Gronk is, I think. Andrew Whitworth, I don't know. Tackle, I don't know. He's really good. He's deserving, but I don't know if he's first ballot. I think Gronk will be. Peterson could be. Cam Newton won't be, even though he has an MVP. Like I said, Peterson has an MVP. We got Richard Sherman from a defensive back perspective, probably a top 20 defensive back all time, right? Won Super Bowl in Seattle, should have won 2. Played for the 49ers briefly. And Antonio Brown, we know AB's resume for a 6 or 7 year stretch, the best wide receiver in the NFL, for half his career, the absolute best. So, AB's dealing with some legal stuff now. He's out on ankle monitor and stuff down in Florida, awaiting a trial. So we'll see what happens with that. But, I think that stuff affects him. He's definitely not a first ballot Hall of Famer, just like T.O. wasn't. When you're too messy, you don't get in. When you're too messy, right? So that's the question about 7. I mean, was he too messy? You have teammates come to his defense. Marquise Pouncey came to his defense. David DeCastro came to his defense. You got people that so you got, and I'll let Mike Florio explain it in this clip that I'm going to play. And you guys just tell me what you think from here. This is Mike Florio from PFF on his take on the Ben Roethlisberger stuff. Here we go.
DeCastro showed up in Pittsburgh in 2012. That was after Roethlisberger's suspension in 2010. And I think that the reputation within the locker room for Roethlisberger had 2 separate phases, pre-suspension, post-suspension. I think there was some maturation. I think there was some growth. I think there were some changes as it relates to how he interacted with his teammates. Porter played there pre-suspension. Now he coached there post-suspension, but his initial opinion of Roethlisberger was formed early in his career. And there have been plenty of stories about, teammate asking for Roethlisberger to sign something that's going to be put up at a charity auction and Roethlisberger saying no. There's a story out there about Roethlisberger not attending the Jerome Bettis retirement party in Las Vegas, even though Roethlisberger was in Las Vegas at the time. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's out there. I've heard that. That's not something that we're pulling out of the sky. I know of former teammates of Ben Roethlisberger who have off the record had criticism of him. Will that be enough for Roethlisberger to not get in on the first try? To the extent that first ballot means something. And some voters apparently think that it does. Otherwise, Bill Belichick would already be in. Well, he'll get, what kind of a teammate was he? What kind of a leader was he? Do the guys out there fall more into the Joey Porter Sr. camp? Do they fall more into the DeCastro camp? I have a feeling if you're going to get the full scope of teammates over the years that Roethlisberger was in Pittsburgh, the scale is going to tip more toward Porter than DeCastro.
So, yeah, those are Mike Florio's thoughts, and I'll play Shannon Sharp's thoughts from his Nightcap podcast because it can affect things with voting. Let me adjust this live chat real quick. We got the homie Mean Green in the building. Happy belated birthday. Yesterday, 2/17. Obviously, that was yesterday. Happy belated birthday, man. You went to the Hall of Fame on your birthday? Okay. Or did you do it previously? Did you go yesterday or you did it previously? But he visited the Pro Football Hall of Fame and stocked up on some major Steelers merch. Shout out, man. I mean, I haven't bought any merchandise from the Hall of Fame. I haven't been in the Hall of Fame in 15, 20 years, I believe. Man, it's been a minute. I've been like 2012, maybe. Long time ago for me. But happy birthday, man. Shout out to you. You're an Aquarius, one of the water signs. I don't know all this stuff. People talk to me about it. So shout out to all Aquariuses out there. I believe tomorrow's the last day for Aquariuses. We got Christine, Black and Gold, tapping in. She says, I hope AB gets in. I laughed, chuckled to myself. She said, bless his heart. My grandma just said it all the time. Bless his heart. That's funny, Christine. Old school, old school. Okay, she said, I don't care about his ankle monitor. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think on the field he should get in, but off the field, I don't like that. I mean, to me, they're two separate entities, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame of character, Hall of Fame of good deeds and stuff like that. And I think when you went in a Pro Football Hall of Fame, it should be all about football. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bad guys in the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, that were in prior to doing bad things. Maybe during their career, they did some bad things. R.I.P. to OJ. OJ Simpson's still in the Hall of Fame. I don't think they didn't strip him of that. I mean, so yeah, I don't know. Mean Green responds to Christine. Says Christine, Christine, I take it that you have been in Pro Football Hall of Fame. That place is a fans. It is. And then I've been 13 years as I've been there. But yeah, Christine says, hit you with the 100 because it is. Shout out. But Tim Lyons in the building. Old diabolical bingo, as Big G would say, steps into the arena. Tim, you here? We appreciate you. Just stay out the matrix, man. We appreciate you tapping in, bro, from the great Northwest. But yeah, man. So, we don't know about Ben, right? Deserving could be. Like I said, I think Gronk gets in. I think Brady's going to get in. They could put Belichick in. That's 3 right there. And I don't know who's already waiting. Like we have some people like the guy that waited the longest this past year was Roger Craig. He's going to be getting in August. Played for the Bill Walsh 49ers. I think he is deserving. We talked about it briefly on the homies. But yeah, I think he was very deserving. But took 32 years for him to get in. I don't think that happens at 7. But man, will 2 quarterbacks go? If it's 2 quarterbacks, it's between Ben and Eli because Brady gonna go, right? Gronk goes. I mean, it could be a whole Patriots thing. Belichick, I believe, is going to deservedly get in. They might have punished him, the media, the voters, the judges, because of how his interaction with the media was. People just didn't particularly like Belichick's attitude. But can you take away what he did as a football coach in the Football Hall of Fame? Don't make sense to me. That's society nowadays. In my perception, I speak for myself, not the know-it-alls as an entity, not for G or Mod, just myself, or none of the other people you see on here, Pay Dirt, any of the other guys. But I feel like societally now, people are quick to judge because it's such a microwave society, and we hold people accountable for what they did most recently. And then when stuff gets out there, old stuff comes up. It's up everywhere, right? It's up in the social media sphere, the media sphere. Everybody's talking about it. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, all the social media stuff, TikTok. You can go in there and look up and see all these back and forths with Ben and Debo chimed in yesterday. And I respect Debo's take because it's his take, right? You got to respect somebody's feelings are their feelings. Whether you agree with them or not, you can respect their feelings because that's how they feel. So I'm okay with just how Debo feels and his feelings. But he came out and said something, I believe, yesterday or earlier this week about Joey Porter. I think the best thing the Steelers could do is just let the stuff just go, let it die down, because it's not helping anybody. Not all publicity is good publicity. And some people view publicity as just good, whether it's good or bad. But, when it comes to what it plants in the voters' minds and the football fans' mind and us as Steeler fans, a lot of, especially organizations like the Steelers, we revere our Steelers. Like, some of the greats from the 70s, those were bad dudes too, man. I mean, L.C. Greenwood and some of those guys back then, not bad people, but they done some bad things. Just wasn't out like it is now in the way things are today, But, man, does Ben make it? I hope. Just because I'm a Steeler fan, I hope he makes it. He will make it. I hope he makes it first ballot, though. Christine, again, with the comment. Let's check out what she had to say. I think Ben will definitely get on the first ballot, and he deserves to be. Doesn't mean he was a good teammate, though. That's true. That's true. And I agree with you because it's about what happens between the lines, again, between the lines. Now, some voters talk to teammates you don't know. Do they view that what happens not on the field and not outside football, but inside the building and how you treat people as a teammate, do they view that as part of their criteria? 50 individual voters, 50 people looking at it from their perspective, and we'll see how that turns out come towards the end of next football season. We'll know. But it's just something just to talk about. Christine says again, it will die in a week. Okay, you might be right, but yeah, it will. Combine again started next month. Free agency starts. It'll die down. But the guys fanning the flames and keep talking about it, not helping anything. So some of y'all, Debo, go ahead and just stop talking about it, man. I haven't heard Joey Porter anymore. I haven't heard Ben, though. But I don't know what Ben said on this podcast on the 7 channel. I don't know how he's addressed it, but I haven't heard anything. Think that's good. So, it will die down, but it doesn't mean that it hasn't planted a seed in voters' minds and stuff. But we'll see what that looks like. So yeah, I hope Seven makes it. Hope he's a Hall of Famer. And we'll see what happens from there. But now, just real quick, we got about 8-9 minutes left. Steeler talk, Steeler questions. We got a few. Wednesday, I know when Ben played, he took Wednesdays off. They called it Ben's Day, right? Because that was his day off. As he got older, he was a veteran. Well, Wednesdays on the Know-It-All channel is now Tate's Day. And because, we obviously doing Tate's Take right now. Tap in later this evening. You got myself, Big G, the homie Curb on the fix. And what we're going to do in there is talk about, we're going to give a 3-minute explanation of moves we think the Steelers should make to fix the Steelers. We're going to explain ourselves, explain our work, explain our thoughts, kind of just have a discussion about what it looks like going forward as far as free agency and the draft. Quick takes, because we're only there for 45 minutes. We don't have all day. I know both G and Curb can get long-winded, but so I'm going to try and keep that to a minimum since I get to moderate and kind of steer those guys. This is what we're talking about, but Curb and G get off the rail, but we'll see what it's going to be fun. Tap into that tonight. Right after that, pump your brakes. Me and the homie Triple OG Shannon in the building. We're going to talk about the big boys in the trenches. We're going to talk about the Steelers offensive defensive linemen, what that looks like. Do we bring in more? Who we like? Who gets cut? Who's not there? A lot of stuff to talk about. That's the most important aspect of the team. I know Big G's keeping it 100 yesterday. He talked about the need for the offensive line. I can see that. The best player available is offensive line. At 2021 when you pick and that best guy is there, take it, right? But I'm not drafting the old lineman in the first round if I can get one of the top 4 receivers or one of the top 2 defensive backs. I think those are bigger needs. I don't draft a safety in the first round unless it's Caleb Downs, but I'm looking at safety in the second round. But me and Shannon will be talking about the offensive defensive line tonight. Then my girl Dev. We'll be back for Coast to Coast tonight. We're going to talk about some of the Steelers stuff. She was busy with preparing at work for the NBA All-Star game last week. So she wasn't. We didn't do this last week. We'll do it tonight. Talked to her last night. We're going to get into some different Steelers stuff, get her takes on what she thought about a lot of this stuff. Is Aaron Rodgers going to actually be in Pittsburgh? We don't know. Talk about some of the free agents who should get cut. Steeler talk. You guys tap in and just check that out tonight. But so that's all tonight. So right now, I'm going to start it out because we got a few minutes left. What I think the Steelers' biggest free agency needs are. And I think some of the biggest needs that they need to fill in free agency before we go into the draft, right? You got to get a wide receiver. In free agency, too. You got to draft wide receiver, maybe 2. Or you sign 2 in free agency. One could be your own guy, Calvin Austin. But to me, Calvin Austin is a number 4 receiver. He's like your secondary slot, your backup slot receiver. I like that for him, but you got to sign a free agent. I like Romeo Dobbs. I've been saying his name for a while. And I like Juwan Jennings from San Francisco. My 2 front ones. Will I take a flyer or a stab at a Brandon Ayuk and Tyreek Hill? I got to see what Tyreek looks like. We got to get a doctor to check him out, his recovery, where he's at. It'd be for the cheap, because I'm a big proponent of getting guys in the room. Tyreek Hill was a guy. Is he a guy still? I don't know, but if he is, we could use Tyreek Hill for a year or 2 with what he's capable of doing in our offense. Brandon Ayuk, younger, probably about 3-4 years younger than Tyreek Hill. 49ers are going to cut him and get him on the cheap. I would give him an opportunity. But my favorites are Dobbs and Jennings, who play with Ayuk. I think they're more legit number 2s, right? Legit number 2s. Both are good blockers. Dobbs is a great route runner. Jennings is a good blocker and a chain mover. First down, move the chains, get past the sticks, be physical, make catches over the middle. I like Jennings. I like Dobbs, my two favorite in the draft. Big G said this yesterday, completely agree. And like I said before, me and Big G don't agree on a lot of stuff all the time as we see things as far as the Steeler perspective. And I respect his opinion. He respects mine. But, yeah, I agree with him on when one of the 4 top receivers not there, then you don't go receiver. If it's not Cardell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, or Denzel Boston, and it's Denzel. I just heard a story about that, Denzel Washington was on talk show. I saw it on some clip, social media or something, and talking about his name, like they're talking about how many kids have been named Denzel since Denzel got his first Oscar in 1987 or Academy Award. And like there were 4 players in the NFL named Denzel. There were no players at that time named Denzel. So just saying, like, look how many kids were named after you became really famous. And he said his name wasn't even Denzel. He's Denzel Jr. His dad is Denzel Sr. And his mom would always call him. And actually, the dad's name is Denzel, not Denzel, Denzel. So, and he was Denzel, and the mom would say Denzel, and they both would come running, see what mom or wife wants. And she's like, boy, you not Denzel. Your dad is Denzel. I'm going to call you Denzel. So, like he said his real name's not even Denzel, it's Denzel. So, that's why I call Boston Denzel. Pointless conversation there. Just thought about it because we're talking about Denzel Boston. But, yeah, so one of those 4 receivers, if they're there, I'm getting them. Tim thinks Tyreek going to end up in Baltimore. He could. Afton, you know what, Denzel? Okay, I thought you said Denzel. I was going to name drop my cousin. Shout out to him. He's been on the show for him. Cousin Pierce Austin, Will Smith's longtime hairstylist and barber since Independence Day. Back in mid-90s. He's been with Will that long. He has his own studio business and stuff, but he also recently last year started being Denzel's hairstylist too for the movie sets and different stuff like that. So I haven't met Denzel. I've met Will a couple of times, not Denzel though. But if I ever can, I'd love to meet Denzel. Iconic actor, my guy. But yeah, Christine says, I wouldn't want Ayuk or Hill. If a top 4 receiver going that we feel the trenches, I would love K. McDonald too. And yeah, I said 4 top wide receivers going, but Christine, I'm only saying Ayuk or Hill if it's for the cheap. I give him a chance to come. I'm not signing to no major deal, but I got to see what it looked like because I know what the talent was, right? I know what it was. So, I mean, Ayuk had his best season. He was injured, got hurt, didn't even play last year. We don't know what he can do. He got hurt last year. Hurt the year he signed the contract, and he didn't really play last year. So last time I seen him on the field, he was good. But let me see if he can still be good. I'm not paying a premium for that. I'm not even paying, I'm paying pennies on the dollar for that to see what it looked like. But I do like Cade McDonald, and I would go Ayuk over Hill. But I got to see what the talent look like if I can get it for cheap. But yeah, so those positions, and again, one of the top corners, Curb like a dude. The dude, is it Colston out of Tennessee? I like him too. It's another corner. Who's the top corner? I need my list and my draft list in front of me. We'll talk about that later tonight. I'll know tonight. But yeah, and safety, but I'm not drafting safety in the first round. So if one of the top 4 receivers in there, one of the top 2 corners in there, because skill position is what we need. We started building the trenches, and me and Shannon gonna talk about it tonight because we look good in the trenches. Now you can never have too many trench players, you know what I mean? Especially defensive line. Offensive line, you don't shuffle guys in and out, but defensive line, you do. So Christine got another comment. Let me see. Appreciate you, Christine. They both going to be hurt again. Could be, but that's why we seeing. If they healthy? We need to bring back Slade's medical staff. Oh man, hope they don't put those guys on, because if you talking about Darius Slade, he was hurt all year, but he old. And I think Ayuk only like 28 years old. Him and DK Metcalf are about the same age. Was he overshadowed, Tim? I mean, you up there that way, so you know more than me. I mean, but hell, are you being overshadowed if you got traded in the next year? The guy that was overshadowing you is the offensive player of the year, that led the league in receptions and all that stuff like that. That ain't overshadowed. That's just somebody just being better than you. You know what I mean? And DK have a role. I think he was minimized here in Pittsburgh because he didn't have somebody opposite of him, and because of Arthur Smith's propensity to want to run the ball all the time. And I love the run game, but you got to be willing to take risks, mix it up, throw it downfield, stuff like that. So, yeah, JSC and Lockett ain't overshadowing nobody, though. Maybe when Russ was there, that was Russ' buddy, but Lockett ain't overshadowing nobody. But, yeah, so definitely think wide receiver, then cornerback. Then if it was the number 2 corner, right, available at 21 and Cade McDonald on the board, I'm going Cade McDonald. And but we won't really know what's going to happen until after free agency. These moves got to be made. Cuts got to be made. Do they keep Patrick Queen? I'm a proponent for keeping Patrick Queen, right? Because I think Patrick Queen is young enough. He hasn't reached his physical prime. He's 26 years old. We own one more year. See what it looks like. Go ahead, pay it out. See what it looks like. Then maybe you can re-sign him for less of a deal. Maybe it's not worth what he's getting, but keep him in the building. Because if you cut him or release him, you're going to make a hole that you got to fill. You got to either bring somebody else in and pay them, new to the defense. What's going to be new anyway with Patrick Graham? Or you got to use draft capital. You still use draft capital. I think you need another inside linebacker in the room, but you'd have to spend a higher premium pick on a linebacker if you let Patrick Queen just go, or pay somebody maybe a couple $1 million less than what you're going to pay Patrick Queen this year. And they're probably going to be an older guy because Patrick Queen is like in his going to his 6th or 7th year and only 26 years old. I got to see what that look like again, too, in another defense. You want to talk about Terrell Austin, Mike Tomlin's defense? Let's see what that talent look like in a new defense. Let's see what it looks like. In my opinion, don't create holes. Thanks, Christine. Certainly appreciate it. I mean, I just feel like that. Tim, what's up with Highsmith requesting trade? That a rumor? I think it's a rumor, but I think Highsmith is probably their best trade candidate. And you put that with you want to sign Herbig, and I don't think you want to trade TJ. I mean, I would. A lot of people would, but I don't think Steelers want to. And somebody would have to accept this contract off last year that don't look like none you want to buy into long term. So, and Heisman come off one of his better years, if not his first, his second best year last year, and he could potentially be traded. I don't think he requested it, but I think it's talk out there that he could be traded. But yeah, thanks for the question, Tim. That's a good one, but that's a way to accrue more draft capital. But yeah, so those things are just briefly what I just want to say. Big Ben, make the Hall of Fame. Hope you do first ballot. Think you're deserving. Queen will be much better if they get a real no. I agree. Rye D, I agree, bruh. He will be. I mean, we need to get a legit no. Cade McDonald be perfect there to keep him and Peyton Wilson clean. Peyton Wilson had a down year last year, but I believe it's a product of not having somebody in the middle commanding double teams to keep those guys clean. So you get that guy. They're both sideline to sideline guys. They're not shedding offensive linemen blockers, but if you keep them in space, keep them free, they can tackle. They can see, run, and hit. They both can do those things. And Patrick Graham is known to not develop a defense he wants to play and put the pieces on the field. He's known to develop a defense based on the pieces that he has. So see what that looks like, right? I'm a big proponent seeing what stuff looks like, cooking in the kitchen with the ingredients you got. So, yeah, I agree. And Christine says we need a good nose tackle. We do. And it's a couple, as Big G calls them, fire hydrants. A couple of them out there. Now, is that a second or third round pick? We'll see. I agree with what Big G said yesterday. Y.A. Black is too tall. His pad level is not good to play in the middle. I think Mean Green, I think Big G is a proponent to trade TJ if you can, but I think he understands the reality of it. But I'll ask him tonight. Tap in to Smash the Gas. We'll talk to Big G about that tonight. But with that being said, everybody, I'm about to get ready to tap out, get out of here. Thanks everybody for tapping in to another Wednesday episode of Tate. Appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you later tonight on Smash the Gas at 7:10 Eastern. Tap in. Tate. I'm out. Peace.
Take a picture of greatness, relate this to a Rembrandt. I know it all, so listen close, even if I rent. I'm here once a week, rain, sleet, or snow, to tell all the facts that you need to know. So listen.